Welcome all, Boone here from EWPRO. Before I start, I'd just like to thank all the people that have supported this channel with their likes and comments and watching the videos. Moving forward, because I'm not getting many, many views on YouTube, moving forward with this video, once I get 20 views, 20 thumbs up on the video, I'll do another video. But yeah, so things are going to change a little bit. May not never get another video if I don't get 20 views, or may get one in a week's time. It will depend. But yeah, so that's what I want to put out there to start off with. And if you want to see more videos, hit that like button and share and subscribe. Now onto the weekly outlook, the XY on the daily. We got this A, B, C. So there's two scenarios here like I've been going over. This can be an A, a B, and a C in here, a flat. And then we get like an A, B, C before it goes down and breaks the low, or this does turn motive. Or the second scenario is we've already got the A, B, C, and we go down and break the low. Looking at the H4, we're in a wave 3. We got like 1, 2, we're in a wave 3, we get a wave 4, and you trade a wave 5 down. So this is pretty much a time factor at this stage. We could see a correction a similar size in time. Could be a couple of weeks. So yeah, on the H1, like I just showed on the H4, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a larger correction here now. At this stage, you can really, there's not much you can do with it now, because we sort of have an A, a B, and a C. This C up never broke this top, so there's a chance that it doesn't really fit the price action, but we could get an A, a B, and a C here, and then an A, B, C before it falls over, and we get some sort of a flat in here. Or it turns more complex, and we get a lot larger correction before we get another one down. At this stage, there's really not much you can do. You can only really go down onto the lower time frames and scalp. And I'd be leaving this one alone, because like I said, we got an A, a B. This C up never broke that top. So there's quite a few different scenarios that could happen here now. So I'd be leaving it alone at this stage. AU, this still looks very much corrective in here. On the daily, it is starting to go with the non-farm payroll, but it's still very choppy. So I'm not convinced that this will go up and break the top. And this is the end of the wave 4 on the daily. It's very slow, very choppy. The only thing you can do here is scalp going with this trend here, which is up. At this stage, we're starting to get bearish divergence on the H1, so I would be looking for a sell. I wouldn't be starting to buy up the top here. For the sell, I'd want a nice impulse down and a correction, and then I could look for a sell to go and break the low. By low, I mean like this low over here. So other than that, you're pretty much just scalping, going with this trend on the lower time frames until you get that lower low like I just showed. Yeah, I'd be more interested in a sell, because we have starting to get that bearish divergence and it looks very corrective. GU, I mean, this can go either way as well. We did have that complex correction here. We had these three down in here, possibly finishing off that wave C. We had a nice impulse up on the H4. We had this nice impulse up in here. This here looked rather corrective. Well, it looked more motive than corrective. So there's a couple of scenarios here too. We can get some sort of an A, B, C in here, a flat, and then you get like an A, B, C up before you get an A, B, C running or expanding flat in here before you get A, B, C, or a may turn motive. So this is a sort of correction I'm looking at this stage. You could scalp, um, you know, if you got one down in here, you could scalp a C up and then a larger C down and then the larger C up, A, B, C. So you can scalp these C waves, but you just got to be a little bit careful. EU, this could be complete as well. We had that like A, B, C in here, that flat. And then we had this A, B, C, and then that A, B, C. Possibly finishing off that C wave. The problem with this pair was that it didn't come from a low. This impulse in here didn't come from a low. The low is over here. So this is more of a wave 3. So we got like 1, 2, a wave 3. You wait for a wave 4, and then you can trade a wave 5 up. You pretty much have to wait for that wave 4. Wait for this wave 3 to be over, and then wait for the correction, and then trade the wave 5 up. So again, there's really not much you can do with this pair at this stage. You can scalp on the real lower time frames, going with this trend here in this wave 3. But it starts to get dangerous once you start to get these divergences, like on the H1 here. We have that bearish divergence, so it starts to get risky. We sort of did have a flat in here for more upside. So, for example, you could go down onto the lower time frames and wait for a correction in here. If you got some sort of a correction in here, an A, a B, and a C down, and then a bullish setup on the M5 or M1, well, then you could look for a C up here. It's just scalping though, going with the trend. And it pretty much goes with all the pairs. NU, we had these three down in here. I'm looking at some sort of a large complex correction here. We did have these three down in here. We were looking for that upside in here up to that 100 pivot. Didn't quite get there, but we had like A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we get 1, 2, 3, or 5 up in here before we go and break the low. And we have some sort of a 333 or 335 complex correction in here. We are looking for upside in here because we had those three down. So we have been looking for upside here. There is a chance you could get in this here. Doesn't look the best on the lower time frames, but yeah. The reason I don't really like it on the lower time frames is because this low here wasn't broken. So we only have like an A. All this could be a B, and we get a C down here before it goes. Ideally, that happens because, like I said, this is the low over here. Yeah, I mean, you could go down on, like I showed on the EU, you could go down onto the lower time frames and look for a correction after this impulse up. Wait for a correction and look for another one up. But you got to wait for the correction. You got to have three down. We got an A, possibly getting some sort of a B, and you get a C down. And then if you get a bullish setup, well, then you can look for the buy. Until that happens, there's really not much to do on it. It's yeah. GY. this is starting to look very interesting now. We got that 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for this correction, and we weren't getting this C down in here for this A, B, C. It took a while to get that, but we did finally get that large C down, and it's pretty much in line with uh, the time factor in the correction. So if we do get a bullish setup here, you definitely can look for that fifth wave up. You really need a nice buy setup to take this trade. Looking at the H4, it's very much bearish. As you can see, we got a nice impulse down. So it really depends on what sort of correction we get here. If this turns corrective, bearish correction, and just does something like this, well, then we'll be looking for a wave C down. If this gives a nice impulse up and it gives us a bullish setup, a bullish correction, well, that will give us a chance to get in and possibly go and break that top, or just give us an A, B, C. May just give us an A, B, C. But there is that chance that this is a complete correction and we go up and break the top and we get that wave 5 up on the daily. So really looking, we're waiting for a bullish setup, obviously, which you have to be very careful of, because like I just mentioned, we may just get like an A, a B, and a C up, and then it gives us another one down. And we get some sort of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before we go up and break the top, and this is the end of the wave 4 here. UY, we already got the 5 up on UY. And so if I was looking for a sell, I'd be looking at UY for the sell, not GY. This bounced off the 161.8, pretty much that the second target on the daily wave 5. So, if we get a correction in here, very similar to GY, if we get a bearish correction in here, you could definitely look for a sell. Other than that, you're just possibly scalping into a correction to the upside. I'm more bearish on this though, because we have the 5 up on the daily. So there's really not much to do here. I mean, you could look. I would be waiting for the correction, a H4 correction. So get some sort of a, correction in here, like 3 up, A, B, C up, and then look for a sell. Until that happens, I'd pretty much be leaving it alone. Yeah. CAD, this is really on the H4. We had the 5 up on the H4. We were looking for more downside in here. We sort of have 3 down here now, like an A, a B, and a C down. This could be a complex correction as well, though, if I just zoom in here. We sort of have 3 up in here, like A, B, C, A, B, C. So we can get A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3 in here, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 3. And that's our correction before we get an A, B, C. And then more upside, because we got that wave 5 up on the H4. We don't have any bearish divergence here, so I am looking at all this until this low here is broken. I'm looking at all this as a correction. USD Swiss franc. I mean, we've already hit the target, that 100 fib, with this A, B, C. Now it's really not much to do. This could really go up and break the top. We got the 5 up here on the H4. We sort of had 3 up in here. breaking this top, so we can get an A, B, C flat, and then it goes up and breaks the top. We do have a bull hidden in here, so definitely can look for buys. I mean, it's more of an experienced trader's trade, but you could look for, like, we got an A, B, C up in here, A, B, C, and we get an A, B, C up in here, or this C up just goes up and breaks the top. So if we do get a bullish setup, I'd be looking for at least a C up in here, and then if it gave an impulse down and a bearish correction, well, then you could look for like an A, B, C here. But at this stage, I'd be looking for a buy in here on the lower time frames. It's really just scalping, but if you're lucky, it goes up and breaks that top with that bull hidden. EG, pretty much leaving this alone. Really need 3 up in here, like some sort of an A, B, C. We need like 3 up in here. We just have an A. We need a B and a C up, and then we could look for a sell to go out and break that low, because we do have a bear hidden there. And I dare say that bear hidden will play out after we get these 3 up. We need 3 up in here. So at this stage, it's quite risky. I'd be waiting for the 3 up, because this is starting to get, if I just go down to the lower time frame, it's starting to become quite messy in here. This wave in here looks like a B wave, but it never went and broke that top. So we need, possibly 3 down and then those 3 up. And then if we got that bearish set up, definitely look for a sell. So you may be sitting on the sideline for a little while waiting for the correction before you get that sell. WTI, like I've been mentioning, until this low, when we were coming down in here quite sharp, I was saying, until that low there's broken, this is still very much bullish with that bull hidden there. We got a nice impulse up. We're just waiting for this correction in here. Well, on the H4, I was waiting for a possible wave 5 down, which still is very much possible. We do have a bear hidden in here. This wave 2 and this wave 4 is a lot larger than this wave 2. But we are looking to go and break that low. Whether we get a bullish setup in here, or it goes and breaks the low, ideally it does go and break that low before we get the buy. Or else it could just give some sort of an A, B, C in here, and more downside. Looking at the H1, there's a couple of scenarios here. We sort of have 3 down in here, so we could get a complex correction here, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in here before we get more downside. This is going to be very difficult to trade at this stage. It's still very much bearish, but we're starting to get that bullish divergence. If you go down onto the lower time frames, you may get a buy in here. It may go and close that gap. But yeah. Gold, very similar to WTI. We have this bull hidden in here on the daily. So until this, wave 4 here is broken, that low in that wave 4 there is broken, this can go up and break the top. This one didn't give the 5 down either. Looking for that 5 down in here. We did get the extended wave in that wave 3, But this is quite difficult because if I just go down on the H1, you can see that it's quite choppy. We got an impulse up, a very deep correction in here. That's what made it very difficult. And this one didn't go up and break that top. But yeah, it's gone. I was saying last week, well, for the last couple of weeks, silver was the one to get on. It was a little bit better than gold. Very similar, we have the ball hidden on the daily. But this one come from a low here. So this one did come from the low. We got an A, well, 1, 2, we're in a wave 3. So we were looking for upside here. It looks a lot better than gold did. And we're in that wave 3, so there's really not much you can do now. You've got to wait for that wave 4 and trade a wave 5 up. So there's really not much you can do with this at this stage, but we were looking for this correction in here and a buy. So yeah, hopefully a few of you are on that. Bitcoin, this we had the 5 down in here. That was fine. We got the bullish divergence. The problem was this was looking very corrective, and we only did get the 3 up in here. Getting another correction. So, and this is quite slow here too. So we've got to be very careful with buying this. Ideally, I would have really liked to see this take off because we had the 5 down here. We had the 5 up, an A, B, and we got that C down. So, this could really take off and break the tops. But looking on the lower time frame, it's very correct. It still looks very corrective. It doesn't look very motive. Which is concerning. We're even getting bearish divergence here on the H1. So, yeah, be very careful with this at this stage. S&P 500 right up the top. We're in that wave 5 on the weekly, and we've breached both of the targets, that 123.6 and that 161.8. It's breached, it's gone straight through both the targets. Been pretty much leaving this alone. We're right up the top of the market. There has been buys on this in here on the lower time frames, but we're looking for a buy. We had this A, B, C here, and we were looking for a buy. I was just looking for an A, B, C here. It's gone a lot further than I thought it may. We can wait for a correction here on the lower time frames, well, H1, and look for a buy. I'd be sort of waiting for some sort of a 50 fib retracement or something. So we've got a 50 fib here. We really need a decent sort of correction here. If we get some sort of a decent correction, 38.2 or 50 fib, then we can start to look for a buy. Right up the top here, I'd be waiting for a correction. And then we could look for more upside. But yeah, wouldn't be jumping into a buy just yet. I'd be sort of giving it a little bit of a time. AU200, well, I didn't think this would actually go up and break the top. Well, I was hoping it would, I was looking at this A, B, C and breaking the top, but this was very slow. It finally did go. We're looking for buys, but yeah, it's finally gone up and broken the top. Now I'd just leave it. You can only trade with this trend at this stage. Yeah. I dare say on the lower time frames, we're starting to get that bearish divergence. So, be very careful buying up the top of the market. The FTSE, well, this one's just gone up and broken that top too. This may turn into a more complex correction. Like I mentioned last week, an A, a B, and we get a C in here flat. And then you get an A, B, C, A, B, C, larger flat before you get A, B, C. So pretty much like I was mentioning last week, this can still looking at the same similar correction. So yeah, there's really not much on it. And the DAX, this is, well, this one was more predictable because even over here, when we were getting this sharp move down here, we were looking for buys because we had that bull hidden there. So we're always looking for buys for that top to be broken. Then we got this you know, a B and a C down at that larger flat to go up and broke the top. It's already done that. So it's starting to get very risky. We're getting a lot of bearish divergence in here. So really just waiting for a nice sell setup. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Once we get 20 likes on this video, I'll do another weekly outlook. Enjoy.